Hello, I am Guy Fawkes. Maybe not. Today we're gonna talk about the Guy Fawkes Day.
Remember the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason and plot. I know of no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgotten.
In 1605, the Catholicism was heavily repressed by the actually Protestant King James I. During this time, Guy, or Guido Fawkes, was a Catholic soldier in secret. He was invited by a Catholic group that had a plan to ascend the Catholicism in England. They planned to exploit it and blow up the king and all the lords in the House of Parliament with a lot of powder kegs. Fawkes was the responsible by keeping safe all the powder kegs, and in the agreed day, he would try to pass the guards and put all the kegs in the right place, but something went wrong.
On November 5th, Guy Fawkes was arrested, leaving the cellar shortly after midnight, and 36 barrels of powder were discovered hidden under piles of firewood and coal. Guy gave to the interrogators his pseudonym as John Johnson when he was first interrogated in the king's private room, where he was still confident. He identified himself as a 36-year-old Catholic from Netherdale. Fawkes admitted his intention to blow up the House of Lords and expressed regret at his failure to do so. His steadfast manner earned him the admiration of King James, who described Fawkes as possessing a Roman resolution. James' admiration did not, however, prevent him from ordering on November 6th that John Johnson be tortured to reveal the names of his co-conspirators. He directed that the torture be light at first, referring to the use of manacles, but more severe if necessary, authorizing the use of the rack, which is a kind of torture tool. Fawkes was transferred to the Tower of London, and Sir William Wadd, lieutenant of the Tower, supervised the torture and obtained Fawkes' confession. Fawkes revealed his true identity on November 7th and told his interrogators that there were 5 people involved in the plot to kill the king. He began to reveal their names on 8th November and told how they intended to place Princess Elizabeth on the throne. In his third confession on November 9th, he implicated Francis Tresham. Fawkes signed his confession shortly thereafter. The trial of the 8 conspirators began on January 27, 1606. The result was no surprise to anyone. The jury found all 8 conspirators guilty of high treason. England's Attorney General Sir Edward Coke issued the sentence. They will be disemboweled, their genitals should be removed and burned in front of them, their hearts should be ripped out, and then they should be beheaded and their bodies dismembered, so then the parts could be taken to the 4 corners of the kingdom to serve as a warning to the others would-be traitors. On January 31, the condemned were taken to the platform, where they were to be executed. Weakened by torture, asking the king and the nation for forgiveness, Guy managed to free himself and jumped to his death, breaking his neck afterwards in order to avoid the humiliation of the execution. His body was dismembered anyway, and the parts were taken to various places in the kingdom.
In Great Britain, Bonfire Night is associated with the tradition of celebrating the failure of Guy Fawkes' actions on November 5, 1605. The British festival is therefore on November 5, although some commercially driven events are held at a weekend near to the correct date, to maximize attendance. Bonfire Night's sectarian significance has generally been lost. It's now usually just a night at revelry with a bonfire and fireworks. Although an effigy of Guy Fawkes is still burned on the fire. Celebrations are held throughout Great Britain. In some non-Catholic communities, in North Ireland and in some other parts of the Commonwealth. In London, celebrations are featuring fun fairs, family entertainment, and special food and drinks. In the Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador, November 5 is commemorated with bonfires and firework display, and it's also officially celebrated in South Africa. There are many foodie items that are associated with Bonfire Night. Toffee apples, treacle toffee, black peas and pumpkin, and even the jacked potato are traditionally eaten around Bonfire Night in parts of England. Also, some families eat soups to warm up on a cold night and toast marshmallows off the fire.
The event starts November 5 and May after session and the fireworks. As of the date, there and celebration in the open fires, fireworks and the good fake dollars been burning. All the day and the skies are colorful and the moment actions and celebration and joy to the destination. Followed the drinks, music and the fun. Where is done happy? The event is American with fireworks and the bonfires across the city of London. The celebration starring dolls represent fakes and air burning in the stage, and the fires representing explosives that haven't no be used. In London, there is firework display in several places. We continue with the celebration. See the place that have the food, drink orders, appreciation.
Number 1. Guy Fawkes wasn't the ringleader of gunpowder plot. In fact, there were 13 conspirators in total. The plot was masterminded by Robert Catesby, a Catholic with a history of speaking out against the English crown. After the plot was foiled, Fawkes was the one who became notorious, as it was his unnevable task to sneak into the cellars underneath the House of Lords and light the explosives. He was caught with 36 barrels of gunpowder, and for 2 days he reminded the sole conspirator that the king's men managed to capture. Number 2. He was Protestant by birth. Despite being the greatest enemy of Protestants, Guy Fawkes was himself actually born Protestant. Fawkes' father died in 1578 when he was just 8 years old, and his mother remarried a Catholic man. Fawkes converted to Catholicism in his teens. Number 3. There's an island named after Guy Fawkes. In the Galapagos Island, just northwest of Santa Cruz Island, there are 2 islands called Island Guy Fawkes Island. Number 4. There's only one place in the UK that never celebrates Guy Fawkes. As the Peter School in York, the school Fawkes attended doesn't burn a guy on November 50 out of respect for one of their own.